Welcome to the Stop Over Drinking and Start Living podcast, where high-achieving, goal-oriented rebel women come to learn how to live a vibrant and fulfilling life without requiring alcohol to get through it. No labels, no judgments, no saying you'll never drink again. Just real proven methods to help you stop rebelling against yourself with alcohol so you can drink less and do more. I'm your host, Angela Mascenik. Let's dig in. Welcome to episode 139, Interview with Client Ruth. Hello, welcome to the podcast. I have a very special guest today that I'm so excited for y'all to connect with. Ruth is in Australia, and Ruth just finished up my 6-month Stop Over Drinking and Start Living coaching program, and I asked her to come on here because she is a true testimony to what this work can do to your life. So I thought we'd kick it off with just, Ruth, you can just say hello, and if there's any information you'd like to share with the listeners of the podcast, go for it, and then we'll just have a conversation. How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds great. I'm so excited to be here today.
Yay.
And today's actually a bit of a milestone for me. It's 200 days since I stopped drinking.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is remarkable.
It's pretty cool. So going from being a true overdrinker to not drinking at all is pretty cool.
That is so awesome. Well, y'all, so when Ruth, so the process is Ruth, you listened to my podcast. That's how you found me, right?
Yes, I listened to Corinne's podcast and she was interviewing you.
Ah, that's right. That's so awesome. I love how the world works. So you started listening to my podcast, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you're like, I'm interested. Yeah. And so then Ruth filled out an application to join my coaching program. And then I reached out to Ruth on WhatsApp and I was like, hey, Ruth, I got your application. I'd love to talk to you about joining the program. And then Ruth didn't respond to me, y'all. She did not. It took her a couple days. I'm like, hey, Ruth, hello. And Ruth was like, And so I thought to kick it off, I could read to you all what she wrote to me because she was a little nervous, right?
Yeah, I was very nervous.
Yeah. She said, hello, thank you for contacting me. I'm the sort of person who just jumps into things and thinks this will fix all my problems. And then I get bored and I make excuses and I am the excuse queen. I am really nervous about not drinking as I have always judged people who don't drink and have never become friends with non-drinkers as I have always believed they are no fun. I am embossed about that, to be honest. I think you meant embarrassed, right?
Yeah,
embarrassed. I am always the life of the party, and I know I won't be if I don't drink. I want this, but I don't want this. Does that make sense? I know my friends will judge me, and that scares me. At first, I thought it was way too expensive to do this course, but I spend thousands of dollars on alcohol. I think nothing about buying a $50 bottle of champagne. When does the next course start? I want to be brave, but I'm so bloody nervous. I have been on every diet out there, and I mean every diet, but I never give up drinking. But any weight I lose, straight back on. I'm wondering if I am just looking at this as the next diet. I have my own business. I've been married for 30 years. I know I have success in many areas of my life, but giving up drinking scares me. Okay, I think I'm rambling now. I'm obsessed with your podcast. I've been listening to 2 or 3 a day. That's another problem. I become addicted to things and then drop them as fast as I start them. I hope this gives you an understanding of my personality. So, yeah, it's so, like, seeing you now from where you were then is remarkable, but to kind of take the listeners here on a little journey, I think is interesting, right? And I feel like I do hear from so many women just like you. And I talk to them on the phone even, and they say, I'm so scared. I don't know if I can do this. What if I fail? They think it's going to be hard and terrible and their life is going to be over. And so like when they think that way, they generally don't want to do it, right? Because it doesn't sound like a good time. And so what I wrote back to you was basically, hey, these are all very common concerns. The worry in your head is actually way worse than what it's like in real life. And like, why don't we just jump on a call and talk through it, right? So then we jumped on the call and then you ultimately decided to sign up for the coaching program. So
I joined that night.
Yeah. And so what do you think pushed you over to believe that it might be possible for you?
I really think that the one thing that really got me over the line was, I remember saying to you, I'm really scared about not drinking. And you said, you don't have to never drink again. This is about finding a better relationship with alcohol.
Yeah.
And I've never looked at alcohol like that before.
Mm-hmm.
I've never looked at it that I was having a relationship with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what pushed me over the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people think, and I definitely don't like advertise that this is a stop drinking program, right? That you need to quit drinking to make your life better or anything like that. But I do still think that even like you, like people think, oh, I'm going to have to give up something, right? My life is going to have to drastically change. It's going to have to be all or nothing in order for me to change my relationship with alcohol. So I think that's interesting that that is what clicked with you, that you didn't have to give it up completely, that you looked at just changing your relationship with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I did have to change, my life did change because of it, because I was one person who did completely give up alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
I don't drink at all anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's been 200 days since I had a drink.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just, I was really scared about I didn't know who I was without alcohol. I really didn't.
Yeah.
So, but doing the work with you and working every day on myself, that's what changed my whole relationship.
Yeah. So what made you stick with the work in the beginning? Like, what was that like? You joined the program, you got the workbooks, you attended some coaching calls. Like, what made you keep going with it?
To be perfectly honest, I think the first month was the challenge of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's, to be absolutely honest about it, like when something's all new and exciting and it's like a new diet, a new whatever, it's like, it's sparkly and exciting and it's the challenge that got me in the beginning. But then the more I had to challenge myself, and I remember my first coaching call with you was I was going out for a 50th birthday lunch with all my very boozy friends, and I was scared shitless.
Yeah. I
was so nervous about going to that lunch. I was so nervous about what people were going to say to me, how I was going to act, how I was pretty sure that I would get through without having a drink because I'd written it down and I was really honouring my plan because it was still the first 30 days. But I was really scared about being judged. And I was having anxiety over it.
Yeah.
And then we had the coaching call and we did the whole visualization of, okay, you're at the lunch, what's happening? And the more I did that, the calmer I got. And I went to the lunch and it actually wasn't that big a deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we just get so caught up in the story that we tell ourselves in our head about the experience and what they're going to think and if they're going to ask me questions and what if I want it, what will happen? I think I remember, I don't know if it was that coaching call or another one that you came on, but it was like, yeah, what would happen if you decided to drink in the moment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. And so I think just like letting yourself, like you said at the beginning, letting yourself know that you don't have to quit. Right? Even though you have went 200 days without it, like, tell me about that. Like, just knowing that you could drink if you wanted to. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I could, if something happened and I really wanted to have a drink, and I did have a drink. I remember it was while I was still on the program. It was my birthday, and I had planned for it. And I did have 2 glasses of champagne for my birthday, and I had no guilt. There was, I planned for this. 2 glasses of champagne. I had them. I loved them. I enjoyed it. I didn't scull it like I normally would.
Yeah.
But the next day, I could feel the difference in my body. I didn't sleep well that night. The next day I was not feeling well, and I just decided there and then I never want that feeling again.
Yeah.
I just don't want to feel like that again.
Yeah.
So I haven't had a drink.
Yeah.
And I've been to weddings, I've been to parties, I've been to all sorts of functions around people drinking, and I'm cool. I'm good with it.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like you still need to make those decisions, like if you will drink or not?
Not for a large event. I don't, because I know I just don't drink.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't bother me. I know I have a good time. That was another coaching call that I had with you. Yeah. I don't want to be boring.
You were so scared about that, right?
I was so scared about that. And I was at a wedding and we were all up dancing, and one of the young boys at the wedding came up to me and said, I didn't think you were drinking. I thought you'd given it up. I went, no, actually, I haven't been drinking. So, yeah, I learned that I can be fun without drinking.
What do you think made it fun, though? Let's talk about that. Like, what did it wasn't that you weren't drinking and it was just automatically equaling fun. You managed your mind, right, around thinking fun thoughts that made you have a better experience, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So what did you think before you went to that wedding? What did I think? Yeah.
About it? Mm-hmm. Well, of course, I had to do that thought work. I knew that people would ask me questions. I'd done I did a lot of thought work so that I wouldn't be tempted by alcohol. I knew that I wanted to honor my plan. But I also... Yeah, I don't know what... Oh, that's a hard question, because I think one of the things I was worried about was not being able to dance sober.
Mm.
Yeah, but you can.
I know, it's amazing, right?
Yeah, and you get yourself very... Like, you get on a bit of a high just from the environment around you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think it's really important to note that, like, the alcohol... isn't like not drinking alcohol doesn't mean automatically that you can have a good time or that you're going to feel comfortable or you're not going to have any thoughts or emotions, right? So I think a lot of times people think, well, I'm not going to drink and I'm going to feel better, or I'll be able to, physically feel better or have more fun or do more in my life. But just not drinking doesn't create those things, right? It's what you think about some of those events, what you're doing in your life, a wedding that you go to that creates the experience for you. So for all of you that are just, you think about going to a wedding or a big birthday celebration and you don't want to drink, or maybe you just want to have like a glass or two, if you don't manage your mind to tell yourself that it could be a good time and that you might have some fun and you're going to enjoy yourself ahead of time, and you just let your mind worry and spin out and wonder what people are going to think, you're going to be in that event with anxiety and overwhelm and worry, and you might feel bored or you might feel deprived or like you're missing out on something. And then when you feel those things, you are more likely to drink from that place because those are uncomfortable emotions, right? But
Absolutely,
if you can tell yourself like you did, like you got regular coaching, just so everybody knows, like Ruth went all in on the materials of this. She lives in Australia. The time zones were an issue for her. Like what time is it for you right now? 6 a.m.?
6 a.m., yeah.
So Ruth is a badass. Ruth takes responsibility for your own results, right? You wanted to be somebody that was unattached to alcohol and to be able to take it or leave it and have fun in your life and not feel like it was a big total change, right?
Yeah.
And you did the work to get that by managing your mind. So kind of going back to my other point is, if you don't tell yourself that you can have fun and that can be a good experience before you go, you have less likely of an opportunity to follow through on what you said that you would do, because you're going into it with like this negative experience and this negative mindset. And we don't like that. We like to avoid pain and seek pleasure. So we're more likely to drink if we don't manage our mind. So Ruth, you got coaching on that, decided how you wanted to think about it, visualize yourself doing all those things and having fun and being yourself. And so it's easier for you not to drink from that place. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, that's right. And I did get a lot of coaching on all of that. And the one thing that we talked about is, do you drink, when you go to a morning tea and with some people when there's no alcohol around, do you still have fun at that morning tea?
Mm-hmm.
Can you still talk to people at that morning tea?
Yeah.
And yeah, of course I can.
Yeah.
So I can still have fun and communicate with people at an evening event.
Yeah.
Without alcohol.
Yeah. I think that I love that. Like looking at other examples in your life where you have been able to socialize and have fun without alcohol. Same thing with like in the work environment, right? Like we talk to colleagues all day long without drinking, and socialize, maybe have lunches, like, and it's no big deal. Like, certainly we can tap into that a little bit in an evening type social function, right?
Yeah, and a lot of people say to me, "Oh, I need a drink to relax. I need a drink so that I can talk to people." And I thought I had to drink to be funny.
Yeah.
But, there's a lot of times I thought I was funny, and I was not funny.
I'm sure that I think that I'm really funny sometimes, and people don't think I'm funny.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. What else like was kind of like some aha things for you while you're doing this work?
Well, a lot of I don't have anxiety anymore. That's one of my biggest things. I've suffered terribly with anxiety. And especially if we'd have gone to a big event, when you go to the big party or where you drink till 2 a.m. in the morning, I could have anxiety for the next 3 or 4 days.
Wow.
So that was a big thing, not having anxiety. So,
do you feel like the alcohol fueled the anxiety?
Absolutely fueled the anxiety.
Yeah. Tell them a little bit about what that's like. Like, what does that sound like in your head, like before you did this work?
What did the anxiety sound like?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was just like this. Just the tightness in my chest, sickness in the stomach. I'd end up getting up in the middle of the night and just vomiting from worrying about things that weren't even happening.
Wow.
Nothing was even happening in the world. I'd wake up and start worrying about what if my house burns down, what if my children die in a car accident. Just creating all this big story inside my head and making myself sick from it. And then the next afternoon I'd still feel sick from it, so I'd have a few drinks to try and calm myself down.
Yeah.
And then there we go again. There's the cycle again.
Yeah. I can't remember what the article was, but it was like, when you're in that cycle, especially with alcohol, your brain makes up drama and stories so that you will drink to get relief of it. It like creates that unnecessary suffering so that you seek relief from it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
so when you stop the pleasure seeking relief and you're like, no, we're not going to do that anymore, right? That cycle sort of stops doing it because your brain doesn't want to keep motivating you to keep doing the same thing if there's no reward on the other side.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So did you have to manage your mind around that at all, or was it just kind of like a gradual reduction in how you felt?
It was a gradual reduction, but honestly, once I gave up the drinking, it pretty much went away.
Wow.
Yeah. And now, of course, I'm human. I still get a little bit of anxiety about things, but through the work I've done with you, I've learned to just stop, process it, breathe through it. It eventually comes out as sometimes you've got anxiety and you don't know why. Or you think you don't know why.
Yeah.
But once you start doing that work, something comes up and you do know why you've got it. It's pretty powerful.
Yeah. What are some questions you ask yourself when you feel that?
Beg your pardon?
What are some questions you ask yourself when you notice anxiety?
Now? Now? Well, I just go, like, I wonder I ask myself what I'm feeling, why I'd be feeling that, what's going on in your life at the moment, and, just start digging into things.
Yeah.
Most of the time it goes away, but there's just sometimes it's just still there, just still sitting there on your shoulder, and you need to talk to it a bit, and eventually something will come up.
Yeah.
And
it's
but
so
being
good.
able to sleep, and I used to blame, because I'm going through menopause, I can't sleep, I'm going through menopause. It's because you're drinking a friggin' bottle of wine every night, that's why you can't sleep.
Truth. Oh my gosh. And I do think, like, as we go through those hormonal changes too, like, and you drink and you're going through the hormonal changes, it's like a total double whammy. Because when I was doing it accelerates it. Like, I would wake up even after just a couple glasses of wine and my heart would be racing and I'd be sweating, and like it was just like it wasn't how it used to be when I was like 20, right? So like I was just slightly more affected with it because of the changes that was happening in my body. It just made it so much worse.
For sure.
Yeah.
And, I tell you something else that's really changed for me is my relationship with other people. My relationship relationships.
How so?
Relationship with my husband, like, you know, we've been married 30 years. We've got a pretty good marriage, but every marriage has ups and downs and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We used to drink so much together, and then we'd argue so much together, and then the next day not remember why you were arguing.
Yeah.
Why you had the fight the night before, and, you know, all of that. It's just so much calmer. My life is so much calmer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're less reactive to things?
Oh, much less. Because I can think about it.
Yes.
I hadn't spoken to my mother for 3 years. I now have phone calls with her, I don't know, once every 3 or 4 weeks.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I'm not saying that I have the perfect relationship with her at all anymore. But I'm now, you know, I don't blame her for everything. It's calmer. It's like, yeah, you know, a lot of this stuff just really doesn't matter, does it?
Talk to me a little bit about, like, taking responsibility for your emotions.
In the fact that, like, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's just, Angela, to be honest, that's really my thought. It's the thought work that changes my responsibility with my emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Like, when people are listening to this, they're like, okay, so you're responsible for your emotions, and if we change our thoughts, like, what does that look like for you on a regular basis?
Well, it just looks to me like I have so much more control in my life. It's almost like I feel like this big balloon it's like sort of deflated, like it's just I don't know, I just feel so much calmer, and it's just all pulled back into a line, a straight line, rather than having this big wide path that I'm traveling. It just seems to be, everything just seems calmer and more straightforward.
Yeah. I can understand how that feels. So, like, before I did this work for myself, it was like I had pressure, constant pressure, right? So, like, pressure with managing the kids, pressure at my job, pressure with my relationship with my husband. Like, it just felt tight. And, like, if that balloon popped, or if that shifted, that energy, that pressure shifted in any way, I would collapse. You know?
Yeah, everything, you're going to lose everything.
I would hold my breath all day long, just pushing through, fighting, being so reactive all the time. You know, like, one little thing would just set me off, and, like, I would spin and spin and spin, and then I would come home and relieve myself with alcohol and food, you know?
Yeah.
And I like the way you're describing that. Like, now it's just easy. I just feel like it's easier. It's not so dramatic. On the outside, it might look a little boring. I am not super reactive. I mean, there's sometimes I might yell at the kids. But, like, you know, I'm not just like, like, all day long, but it just feels so much easier. I can pause and close my eyes and just take a deep breath, acknowledge how I'm feeling, and then decide what I want to do, instead of just like, you're not doing this, and just, like, go off the deep end.
Yeah.
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 And that just makes your life so much more fun, right? And so much more, like, manageable. You don't need to relieve yourself from it so often, right?
I fit so much more into my life now.
Yeah.
I can't believe how much I get done in a weekend now. You know, this weekend I went bike riding, I went for a run. I did a horse ride, like a 3-hour horse ride. I hadn't been on a horse for 14 years. I went to a lunch. I had people for dinner. It's just crazy what I can fit into my life now.
That's so
because
awesome.
Everything's so much calmer.
Yeah. Tell us about, like, a typical weekend before. What did it look like before the coaching, and now what does it look like?
Drinking. So Friday night would usually just be, if my husband was home, be drinking at home with him, like, you know, having dinner at home. Everything I did evolved around alcohol. So I'm a big exerciser. I've always done a lot of exercise. I do triathlons. So I'd get up on a Saturday morning, I'd go for a ride, say a 3-hour ride, with a hangover. Don't know how I did it. I'd come home. I'd get home like 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, absolutely buggered, sit in the spa and have a beer as my recovery. Yeah. And then, we'll have another one. And then it would be like, if I didn't have a function to go to, I'd invite people to my house. So I had someone to drink with. And and then it just went on. Like Sunday morning, you get up, go for a run with a hangover. Sunday lunchtime, I'm so tired, I'm so exhausted, I better have some beers. I just drank all weekend.
Yeah.
Couldn't go shopping, couldn't go do anything because I'd probably be over the limit.
Yeah. And you were feeling just a lot of anxiety at that point, right?
Yes, a lot of anxiety.
And were you just feeling stuck?
I felt like I was just on a cycle, like I wasn't really getting anywhere. I got to a point in my life, because, you know, you leave school, you do your trade or go to university or whatever it is, you get married, you have children, you have your business, and then it was almost like I got to the top of the mountain and there was no further to climb, or I was just on this, I guess plateau is the best way to describe it. It was like I was just on this flat, just this big flatness. And I didn't know, like, hey, I've got another 40 years here. Where am I going to go with this?
Yeah.
I was really wasting my life.
How long were you there on that plateau?
About 10 years.
Yeah. So you were like kind of stuck in this cycle for 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always been a drinker. I've always, you know, ever since I was the legal age, and probably before I was the legal age, but I've always drunk alcohol. But yeah, the last 10 years was getting out of control. But I wasn't like the crazy drunk that nobody wanted to have anything to do with.
Yeah. You still got your work done, right? Like you still managed things, raised your kids, worked, ran triathlons, biked, like all of that stuff. But you were limited in what you were able to do because of the drinking.
Yeah.
It stopped you from growing into exploring new things, right?
It absolutely did. And I thought it was great, you know, when you compare the party the next day, if we've had a big party and, oh yeah, Ruth was the drunkest at the party, I go, yes, I won again.
That is awesome. I wonder why we celebrate that. That's so wild, isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
Don't anymore.
So tell us what a typical weekend looks like now.
A typical weekend now is, Friday afternoon will be just calm, cooking a nice dinner for my husband. He still has a couple of drinks. He doesn't drink nearly as much as he used to because I'm not there fueling it on.
Yeah.
Saturday morning I'll go for my bike ride. Sunday catch up with some friends or go and visit my family or go to the shops or go to the beach. It's always like I now go and see shows that are on at the local theatre. I try not to say no to anything anymore. If someone says, oh, do you want to do an art class? Yeah, I'll do an art class.
So awesome.
Because I know I can.
Yeah.
But people apologize to me when they drink around me, Angela. I find that very interesting.
Yeah. I still feel like people are a little awkward around me, but I just let them. I'm like, you can be awkward. It's okay if you're awkward. I'm not awkward. If you need to be awkward, that's totally fine. Yeah. Yeah. So what is your emotional state now? Like before you were having high anxiety, right? Now, what is it?
Now my emotional state is happiness. I said to my husband the other day, I don't think I've ever felt this happy in my life.
Ruth.
I know.
You're
I know.
amazing.
I'm just, it's really hard to explain, but I'm just so happy. And I can't pinpoint the one thing that makes me happy, but I just have this warmth inside my body because I have control.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know that, just to be clear on everybody, I'm sure you have other emotions too, right? But the general sense of how you have your life is happiness. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just I just wish that I had this magic pill, an Angela pill in a bottle that I could just give to everybody because, it's changed my life.
And now what are you doing? Now what do you do? You're going to be a life coach, right?
Yes, I'm going to be a life coach because
I
just believe I want to help people like you help me.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, that's what I felt like when I was doing the work. It was so, I felt exactly how you do. I just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe that I felt the way I did without alcohol and excessive eating. You've also lost quite a bit of weight too, haven't you?
Yeah, I've lost 20 pounds.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which I didn't lose that. The first 3 months that I was on your program, I actually put on weight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think I was compensating the sugar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you did the same tools that you did with the drinking with the food, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. And that was okay. And you know, I don't think I had the emotional energy to work on both in the beginning.
Yeah. And I think
because
that's good.
It's not easy. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, join Angela's program because it's the easiest. She'll just click her fingers and you'll never drink again.
Right.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
You have to put the work in.
You do. Yeah. I think the key messages is like taking responsibility for it, making it work for you, right? Like showing up to the coaching calls on a regular basis, identifying all the obstacles that you have with it, like your nervousness and worry and anxiety about social situations, and getting coached on that, and applying what the coaching I give you to your life instead of just okay, and then like not actually doing anything with it. Like you had to apply and use the tools for it to work, right?
Yes, I did, and I did that, and the coaching was the best. The coaching, I'd do my workbook and I still wouldn't be able to work it out, but as soon as I got that coaching, it's just like those words, it would just, you would guide me to think differently. Yeah. And that was the key.
Yeah. And I think too, you allowed yourself to be open to thinking differently, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's where there's a good coaching relationship is like you recognize the discomfort of it, right? Like you're getting coaching. Sometimes it's not super like, oh, Angela's going to make me feel amazing. It's not. It's like vulnerable, and you have to share what you currently think about yourself and what you think about situations, like real truthful thoughts that a lot of people don't want to admit out loud, right? But when you do that...
and sometimes it was a little bit embarrassing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like being willing to do that and then being open to considering that you could think about it differently is where the magic happens. And when you open yourself up to that, right, you can do anything. Because if you can change your thoughts about something, you can change how you feel, you can change what you do, like all of it.
Yeah, I know. It changes your whole life. And it's not just the giving up drinking that changes your life, it's the thought.
Yeah.
The thoughts.
Because you've done other breaks from alcohol before, haven't you?
Yeah, just like February, because that's the shortest month of the year. I've done.
Oh my God, see, you're so funny.
I've done that.
I don't think I've heard that one yet. It's always dry January or sober October or something.
Oh no, February's the best one.
Oh my God. So you went like a month, 28 days without drinking before.
Yes, I did. But I struggled.
Yeah.
Every time I struggled with it.
Yeah, because of what?
I thought I was deprived and I thought I was missing out, and I wouldn't go to functions because it was February and I wasn't drinking.
Oh my gosh, so you hid and you didn't put yourself in the social functions that you like.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I did.
Yes. So this is what I want to tell people is like you can stop drinking, right? Like you can say I'm not going to drink for a weekend or a month or even 6 months. You can probably not drink. But if you don't change the way you think about yourself, what you think about those experiences, what you think about work, your relationships, all of that, it's going to be a hard time going, right? And you're not going to change who you are. And if you don't do that, then you're going to go right back to your old ways.
You are. Yeah, it's just making yourself do something doesn't work.
Yeah. So good.
It's like, when people train, I'm going to do a 10K run on this date, so you just train for that 10K and you do it, and then you don't do any more training. You stop running after that.
Yeah.
Then you're back to so next year when you want to do that 10K, you have to start right back at the beginning.
Yeah. So good. What else do you want people to know about you or this work?
I just want people to know how much it will change your life. Like just doing this sort of work, just I know I keep saying it, but I'm a completely different person. But I know I'm not I'm still myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about myself differently. I've learned to love myself. That was huge. Learning to love myself properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the 1 month of your program is about the love.
Mm-hmm.
And that was I felt very vulnerable during that month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a big thing to learn to do. But yeah, look, my life's changed. My relationships have changed. I don't think I can say much more.
You said something more like was it that you have more belief of more that you can do, or what's more possible? Like, what was that you said before? You have like more belief in yourself and like your capabilities to do new things than you had before.
Oh, yes, there's so many more things I can do now.
Yeah.
You know, like I was thinking about starting up a new business, and I sort of started looking into it, and then after a few days I thought, oh, this is just too hard. This is too hard. I'm not going to do that. And then I went, hang on a minute. Your brain's telling you it's too hard. It's not too hard. So this thought work I've been able to put into all different areas of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. So for somebody like you, Ruth, who sent me that text about being so scared and having that pattern for so long and thinking that it's just another quick fix and you're going to go all in and then fail, what do you want to say to those people?
Well, I honestly thought I would be like that. I was really scared about that. But once you get into that first month and learning about how you have so much control over your feelings and your thoughts, and once you get more control over that, then it's just so much easier to dig deeper.
Yeah. It's
so much easier to dig deeper. And, you know, I was really nervous about having, like, why am I spending money on something like this? Like, surely I can just do it myself. Mm-hmm. You know, all I've got to do is stop bloody going to the bottle shop and buying the alcohol.
Right.
Surely that's going to stop me drinking. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, it didn't, of course. So doing this course changed my life. It's given me more money. I've got more money.
I love it when people tell me that. They're like, somebody wrote me the other day that they saved like $2,500 over 6 months, and they were going to go buy themselves like a congratulations present because they don't drink anymore either. And I'm just like, that's amazing. Like this, it's costing you money not to do this shit. I feel like it's
I had to cancel
stealing.
3 wine subscriptions, 3 clubs I had to cancel.
Yeah.
That's how much alcohol was coming into our house.
Yeah.
And we didn't even think anything of it.
Yeah.
Just keep bringing it in. But it's pretty cool. Like I still have wine in the fridge. I've still got, you know, people come here, there's still always something for them to drink. I'm very happy for people to drink around me.
Yeah.
I don't judge anyone who wants to have a drink or have a good time or but yeah, I'm very comfortable with myself. I'm very comfortable around alcohol. So that's pretty cool.
It's amazing to feel that way. I feel the same way. I can be in the house, not be in the house. I can be out with friends, partying at night with my friends, dance parties, like all of it. I don't care.
No, I don't care either.
Yeah.
And I've always left it open that I don't say that I'll never drink again. I've always left that open.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'll probably never drink again, but I don't want to actually write that down in black and white.
Yeah, me either. I don't like saying that because I like to rebel against those kind of boundaries and boxes. I don't want to put myself in a box, you know? Yeah. Like, I want to decide and make conscious decisions about it. And when I let myself have that and, like, really look at my decisions around it, it feels good. You know, I can decide if I want to drink or not. I just evaluate that decision, think about how it makes me feel, really look at the whole situation, and that is no for the most part, right? Like there's just, when I look at all of it and take time to do it, it's just always a no. And that's just what it is right now.
And it gives you power, doesn't it?
Yes. It's just like having that choice, knowing that I have a choice and I get to decide what I want to do is very empowering.
Yeah.
And I don't have to say no for some reason.
I've really noticed, this is just the tiniest little thing, but food tastes so much better.
Wow.
Yeah, my taste, when you go out to a restaurant, the food tastes better and it's more memorable.
Yes. And plus you're probably eating when you're hungry instead of munching and shit just to absorb alcohol, the excess alcohol in your stomach.
Yeah.
I don't know if you did that, but I used to.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I got to soak all this up. Give me the cheese and the crackers and the popcorn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to get drunk. Let me eat more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ruth, I'm so excited for you. I know this is just the beginning for you. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Is there any final words you want to tell people?
Oh, no, but Angela, I really want to thank you. I want to thank you for coming into my life. You came at just the right time for me. And, I just feel this huge connection with you. I know you're on the other side of the world and we've never met face to face, but honestly think of you as my friend.
Oh, Ruth. I think the
and
same
all the
way.
other ladies, the groups that we're in, the Facebook group.
Yeah.
We've got all these amazing ladies that we communicate all the time, and because you just become really vulnerable and you really open up your life to one another.
Yep.
And I probably know more about them than I know about some of my friends that I see
on
a weekly basis.
It's wild, right? Like, when you put yourself in that space and you are just honest and truthful about what's happening for you and you're willing to work on it and everybody is doing that at the same time, there are some connections made that are like forever,
Yes.
Because we don't talk authentically like that in real life. You just look on Facebook or just superficial, have friends. Like, I used to think that, everyone's life is just great. Nobody has any of these issues. Now I'm like, everybody has issues. Everybody struggles, right? And it's to normalize that and feel connected with that common thing. Like, I'm not crazy. You think the same thing too? It is. It's like it makes you feel like there's not something wrong with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. Thank you for that. Yeah. All right, Ruth. Thank you so much. And we'll talk soon, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Ruth, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Y'all, can we just give it up for Ruth? Thank you so much for sharing and being willing to come on and share where you were at the beginning and where you are now. It's such an inspiration to people. And listen, y'all, if you resonate with Ruth, have you had thoughts similar to Ruth's about joining my coaching program, digging into solving this problem once and for all, I highly recommend that you feel the inspiration from Ruth and push the button. All right, so I am closing down registration to the program that Ruth did and just finished. So if you want in on that, now is the time to get your application. Use this as a little push to click through, get the link, watch the 3 videos, and fill out that application. And we'll schedule a call to talk about it, make sure you're a good fit for the program, and we will get going. So in 6 months from now, you can come on the podcast and share how different your life is, just like Ruth did. I love you all. We'll talk to you soon.